Hey everybody, thanks so much for checking out Branch Out Guitar. I am John Branch. Today we're going to be talking about guitar parts and guitar music terminology. So let's get started. So ladies and gentlemen, here is the electric guitar. There's all sorts of different types, models, and sizes, but all of these parts are generally going to function the same way. I'm just going to step you through what each thing does. So we'll start here with the pickups. These are these little things underneath the strings here. Now the pickup, what it does is pick up the sound of the string and it amplifies it through the cord and sends it to the amp and gives us rock and roll. We have these pickups here, and then we have a volume control here. We also have tone knobs, and then we also have this thing called a toggle switch. So I'll show you how all this stuff functions together. The toggle switch is basically going to control which pickup you're on, and the reason that you would switch between pickups is to give you a different sound. This pickup is going to sound different from this one, and this pickup is going to sound different from this one. So in this guitar, and generally speaking when you're on what's called the neck pickup, because it's the closest thing to the neck, this is going to be kind of the warmest sounding pickup. So if I play an A chord, you're going to get kind of a warmer sound. And then as I switch over to the next position, it's going to be between these two. You get a little bit different tone like this. It's called out of phase. Kind of punchier. And then you go straight over to the middle. You can hear how it keeps getting a little bit brighter, a little bit funkier. And then in between these two pickups. And then finally over here to what's called the bridge pickup. Since it's close to the bridge, another term. Going to be your brightest sound. So you can kind of exploit whatever tone you want by choosing these different pickups. The other way that you can change the tone is actually using the tone knobs. So say if I was all the way over here, this tone knob here is controlling anything that's on this pickup or this pickup. So if I say, if I want it even darker, I can roll the tone lower, get even a warmer sound. And then you can do the same thing as you go over here to this tone knob, to the bridge pickup, you know. Gets a little bit warmer sound. They're usually pretty subtle effects, or different guitars are going to have a different capacity for changing the tone via those knobs, but that's what it's doing. You're basically kind of making it warmer as you roll the tone down to 0. Turning it up to 10 is going to make it the brightest that pickup can give you, given whatever it is. So the volume, obviously making it softer or louder. If I'm all the way down here between 1 and 3, pretty quiet volume. As I want to turn it up more, I get a lot louder by just rocking this volume here. So 10 is going to be whatever your amp is set up on. That's going to be your highest volume, and then you can kind of go within that range. So like I said before, we have a bridge. That's just what this piece is called. The strings are going to be threaded through the bridge here, all the way over here through the neck. And then you go over here to the tuning pegs. So this is going to be for the 6th string. This is where you change your tuning, either lowering or raising the notes depending on what you need to do. These silver bars here on the neck of the guitar are called frets. So those are the things that actually change the pitch. If I play on the 1st fret here, you don't actually play on top of the fret, you play just behind it. But we say, I'm going to play on the 1st fret, that's kind of here in this area. That's changing the string length from here to here to here. It's making it a little bit shorter. That's what makes the pitch go higher. We have the nut, this little thing right here. That's the thing that gives the string enough tension over to the tuning peg so that we can make all these notes sound the way they should to tune the guitar. E, A, D, G, B, E. So those are the parts of the guitar in a general sense for an electric guitar. Now we're going to talk about guitar music terminology. These are terms that you hear a lot when you're talking about playing guitar, but might not know exactly what they mean. So the first term is a lick. Generally speaking, a lick is probably some kind of passage of single notes, usually for some kind of lead guitar part or solo. It could be a little fill, it could be a whole solo would probably be a string of licks together. You know, it could be any time constraint, but it's something that's like, you know, that would be a guitar lick. So if you ever see that term, that's kind of what they're referring to. It's not so much chordal, it's pretty much just single notes, so that's the other thing to remember. The next term would be bar, B-A-R-R-E. You probably see this a whole bunch, and you're probably going, I have no idea what that means, but the word looks really cool. But barring is where you're actually taking one finger and laying it flat in any kind of configuration across the frets to play more than one string or more than one note. So a really common way, most people get introduced to barring through the F chord. The F chord is played by putting your ring finger 3rd fret on the 4th string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then your 1st finger, you have to play the 1st fret on the 2nd and 1st string. So it's really hard to try and do that with your fingertips. So what you do is you change the angle of your finger here this way so that your finger lays flat across those 2 strings, and now you're playing both notes. That technique of flattening out your finger and really just playing more than one note with one finger is called barring. This is just 2 notes, a 2-note bar. You could do that across 3 strings. You could do it, a bar chord would be something like where you play all the way across all 6 strings this way. So your finger's got to be really straight and flat. And then that finger is compensating for, the notes on that fret. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be your index finger. It could be your middle finger. It could be your ring finger. It could be your pinky finger as well, if you're so brave. Okay, the next term is strum. You might have heard that before. That's pretty general for playing chords and playing songs. Strumming is just kind of where you're engaging your right hand this way. Say if I play a C chord, you can strum a whole variety of different ways, a whole variety of different patterns, but the idea of strumming is just kind of back and forth here with your right hand. This is me just strumming a C chord. Finger picking, you probably see that term from time to time. Finger picking is instead of using an actual pick like this, you're using your fingers to actually play the notes. You can use all 5 of your fingers to finger pick. Sometimes people just use their thumb and index. You can come up with all sorts of different combinations. But the idea of finger picking means that you're playing the notes individually with all of your fingers. The next term is arpeggio or arpeggiate. Let's say we have that same C chord again. An arpeggio or arpeggiation of any chord is just where you're playing the notes individually. So finger picking is kind of, a lot of times you'll do arpeggiation or arpeggios with your fingers when you're playing a chord. But you can do the same thing with the pick. It's just playing the notes individually. As opposed to going where I'm just strumming the chord, I'm arpeggiating the chord. Stairway to Heaven's a great example of that, where they're just playing the notes individually of each chord rather than strumming the chord all the time in the intro. 2 more, double stop. A double stop is when you're playing 2 notes on any string, so just any combination of 2 notes, usually on adjacent strings. So say if I played a lick like this, kind of similar to what I did before, I could do a double stop on this note instead of just playing a single note. Double stop where I'm barring across the 3rd and 2nd string, and I'm going to bend those notes up. So the double stop is the fact that I'm playing the note here at the 5th fret on the 3rd and 2nd string and starting off at the 7th fret on the 3rd and 2nd string. So double stop is just the 2 notes together. And then finally, we have a rake. It's not something you use for the yard, although you can do that, but a rake in guitar is when you're actually like trying to accentuate a note. So say if I'm going to play this note, the 5th fret at the 2nd string here, I can rake across the strings by muting with the side of my hand here. It just gives it a little bit extra punch and then landing on that note that I'm targeting. As opposed to just going. It gives a little bit more attitude, a little bit more definition. And you don't have to just go this way. You could just go the opposite direction this way, like. Gives a little bit heavier attack. Usually people are raking when they're probably mad or trying to really express something deep on the guitar. Anyway, that's pretty much it for guitar parts and guitar music terminology. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get more guitar information. You can comment and share below, and check out branchoutguitar.com for more information. We'll see you next time.